Hello, my name is Nani and welcome back to my channel where I share with you guys my top tips on how to look good, feel good, and smell good from the inside out. As you guys can tell, I'm holding two fragrances in my hand, and these are going to be pretty much my two recent blind buy fails. So if you guys want to know the reasons why, make sure that you guys go ahead and stay tuned. Now jumping right into this video, this is going to be the first blind buy fail. As you guys can tell, this is my Burberry Black. This package itself is the 1.6 fluid ounce bottle, and this is the Perfume. Now, I had so much high hopes for this fragrance, you guys have no idea. It's been on kind of like my wish list for a while, and I just never pulled the trigger and never purchased it. And so I'm so disappointed in the way that this actually smells on my skin. Now I am going to either return this fragrance back to FragranceNet, or I do currently have it listed on my MERCARI store. The link will be listed down below in case you guys are interested in purchasing it. But if you know that you like this fragrance and it works for your skin, again, the link will be listed below. But if you've been thinking of possibly purchasing this fragrance and you don't know how it'll react to your skin, I just want to share with you guys my experience. Now, starting off with the fragrance notes itself, it's very simplistic, and so that's why I expected so much more, because I thought, for one, how can you mess up these notes? And then two, the master perfumer behind this fragrance is Mr. Francis Kirk de Jean himself. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So the top notes of this one is jasmine. Middle notes is rose and peach nectar, and the base are patchouli and amber, and that's it. Just for how simplistic the actual fragrance notes were, I expected so much out of this fragrance. I read a couple of reviews prior to purchasing it where people were saying that it's sexy, it's deep, it's dark, it's a femme fatale type of fragrance, and I don't know what type of skin they got, because on me, you guys, literally as soon as this touches my skin, for one, you definitely get the peach, and you get a little bit of that, candied rose type of smell, but the peach is definitely prominent. But the peach smells like spoiled or rotten fruit. Like literally, that's how it starts off on my skin when it begins to dry down. And that's not even the worst of it, because the longer that it sits on my skin, the longer that it dried down on my skin, this literally smelled like vomit. Not baby vomit, I'm talking about a grown man vomit. This does not work for my skin at all. I am so repulsed and shocked and flabbergasted as to why it reacted this way on my skin. I have no idea. I know that I have many people that have this fragrance in their collection that really enjoy it. And so I really expected so much more out of this fragrance. But as I mentioned in the opening, pretty much when it touches my skin, it smells like rotten fruit, spoiled fruit. And then also it basically transitions to smell like, it smells so rotten that it literally smells like vomit to me and on my skin. I had to scrub this off immediately because I was just shocked as to why it turned on my skin the way that it did. And so, of course, needless to say, I'm not keeping a fragrance in my collection that smells like vomit on me. So this is going to be leaving my collection. I am so disappointed in this fragrance, to be honest with you. I expected so much more out of this scent. I expected it to be either like a sweet fragrance or like an everyday fragrance, or even like a sexy date night fragrance, which is what most of the reviews were saying. And so I expected for that to be the case for me. But you guys, this is a no-go. This is definitely either going to get returned, or as I mentioned, it is currently listed for sale on my MERCARI store. So if you guys know that you've tested this out and you enjoy the way that it smells on your skin, then definitely, check down below for the store itself. But if you've never tried this out and you've been thinking of possibly purchasing it, I'm just giving you a heads up right now that it may turn the same way on your skin. Hopefully it doesn't, but this just obviously does not work. It has that strong peach smell, and I think the biggest thing is just kind of like the peach smell, a bit of the amber, as well as maybe the rose. I feel like the combination of those three notes is what made it turn very sour and rotten and throw up and it just is horrible, you guys. So this is going to be my Burberry Black, my first blind buy fail. Again, this is the perfumer behind this scent is Francis Kirk de Jean. So I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he did it on purpose, but this is a no-go. So that's going to be my Burberry Black Parfum. Now my next blind buy fail, as you guys can see, this big box, is this Elie Saab Le Parfum, and this is the intense version. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the packaging. So this is pretty much what the package looks like. It comes with the fragrance, obviously. It also comes with the body lotion as well as the shower cream. I actually ordered just the fragrance. I don't know if they just like, it was out of stock and then they just sent me the gift set instead, but the pricing wasn't like a huge difference in the cost anyways. But this is going to be the gift set, and this is the fragrance that's also a blind buy fail, and it's also by the perfumer Francis Kirk de Jean himself. So let's go ahead and talk about the fragrance. Now first off, I love the packaging. I love the color of the juice itself. I love when the juice is kind of like this deep bronze golden type of color. So I really expected a lot out of this fragrance as well. Now the reason that I decided to purchase this one is because it has heavily the note of orange blossom, and I love orange blossom in fragrances itself. And so I kept contemplating if I wanted to get the intense version or if I wanted to get just the original version. But when I looked at reviews, a lot of people were saying that the intense version was just a little bit heavier in the orange blossom. And so I was like, okay, let me just get that one and test that one out. Now, although the orange blossom note is very prominent, actually, let me just read off the full notes for you. The top is orange blossom, middle notes are ylang ylang, rose, and honey. And then the base is patchouli and amber. So with this, I also thought, okay, very simple, very simplistic notes. I didn't really expect for it to be anything crazy, but I just really wanted to get something that could possibly serve as a signature scent for me, a year-round fragrance as well for me, and just something that has a strong orange blossom note, just because I love just the way that it works with my body chemistry, where it's like it's sweet and warm and sticky at the same time. It definitely adds femininity to a fragrance. And although that is true for this scent, the only thing that I can tell you is that the ylang ylang is also very prominent in this fragrance, at least on my skin. And it reminds me, and it's very reminiscent of Chanel No. 5. Of course, that's a classic scent. Of course, that's, you know, it's a classic. But at the same time, I feel like it definitely smells, you know, more mature than I would like. And it definitely leans a little bit more vintage. And that's the vibe that I get for this scent. I love the orange blossom, but when it begins to fully dry down on your skin, that ylang ylang and the orange blossom, it actually gives it a little bit of kind of like a gourmand type of touch. There's something about it that kind of reminds me of like an orange creamsicle type of vibe. I do get that, but the ylang ylang again becomes so prominent on my skin that it gives me that Chanel No. 5 type of vibe, where it's very mature, very vintage. And although I feel like I could make this work in my collection, as you guys know, I've been decluttering and I don't want to keep fragrances that I don't love. And so after just testing it out on my skin and just the way that it reacted to my skin, I know for sure that I definitely want to, again, return this or sell this pretty much. This is not a scent that doesn't smell good. This is not a scent that does not work on my skin. I just feel like it smells a little bit too vintage for my liking, and it does smell a little bit too mature than what I'm actually going for at this time, especially based on what I expected of this fragrance. And so for that reason, I am going to, you know, release this fragrance to someone that would probably appreciate it a lot better than I do. So again, this is a really nice fragrance. You definitely get the orange blossom. It has kind of like a sweet creamsicle type of vibe, like I mentioned, the longer that it lingers on your skin, but there's a real maturity there. There's a real vintage type of vibe there as well. It's sweet, it's a little bit warm. It definitely is very fragrant and pungent, so I feel like it is one of those that if you enjoy those type of scents, you'll probably get a lot of compliments. It does also smell like a fragrance that can be worn as well year round, and maybe even like a beautiful nighttime scent. This could probably be a fragrance that you wear at nighttime for like date night as well, but it's a good transitional fragrance is what it smells like in my opinion. But it smells a bit too vintage to me. It's just not the vibe that I was going for, and it isn't what I expected. So that is why this is going to leave my collection. So as I mentioned, the perfumer behind this is also Francis Kirk de Jean. Even though I do feel like this is blended beautifully, there's no harshness there, there's nothing that smells sour or foul. at the same time, I just feel like I don't know what age range they were trying to target with this one. But I would say if you're probably, I don't know, I feel like if you're 30 and up, or maybe even like 35 and up, you might have an appreciation for this. If you're younger and you just like those vintage smelling fragrances, you'll probably really love this as well. But it's just not the vibe that I was going for. So that's going to be Elie Saab's Le Parfum Eau de Parfum Intense. So these are pretty much going to be the two recent blind buy fails. Again, both of these are, the perfumer behind both of these fragrances is Francis Kurkdjian, and I expected a lot more. As I mentioned, the My Burberry Black is one that could never stay in my collection because it turns really rotten and sour and foul on my skin. But it is one of those fragrances that I feel like had it been a scent that worked for me, if the amber was a little bit more prominent in the My Burberry Black, it would definitely be one of those like sexy date night scents or a sweet nighttime fragrance. But on my skin, it just pulls very sour and just rotten. And then the Elie Saab Le Parfum, beautiful orange blossom fragrance. If you love orange blossom in your fragrances, if you love ylang ylang in your fragrances, you'll definitely really enjoy the Elie Saab. And of course, if you like fragrances that kind of smell a bit vintage and mature, you'll probably really enjoy it. A great gift for like your mother or something like that, the Elie Saab. So those are going to be my two recent blind buy fails. These are both going to be listed on my MERCARI store. In case you guys are interested in purchasing it, make sure that you guys check out the link down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another video. If you enjoy this content, give it a thumbs up. And of course, subscribe to my channel for more. I'll see you guys next time.